Great to see you. I'm doing great, thanks. Excited to be back.
No, but look, man, football's back. It's all good. Is this your office? Have I found you in your office here?
You have. You found me in my office, watching a little tape, getting ready for meetings today.
Yeah, you are. What do you got in there? You got anything fun in there? Got a football? You got game balls?
We got game balls. We got all sorts of helmets. We got quotes from all the top guys I've ever worked for. We got a beautiful view of the lake.
Ooh. Okay.
Beautiful view of the
lake. So quotes from top guys you work for. So the don't eat chicken because they're a nervous bird. I think that's straight from Harbaugh, the Harbaugh collection when you were on his staff the first 2 years at Michigan, right?
That's right. We had no chicken allowed. Okay. No chicken allowed. Got eliminated from the pregame meal. It was a steak. It was a piece of broccoli, and it was a baked potato. That was it.
So that was really he really did mean that then.
Oh, he did mean that, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there was a lot of things. No tennis socks. Like now I'm looking at Mike McDaniel. I'm like, what is going on here? What happened?
Would he have allowed capri pants back in the day? Because now he does. I guess that's.
I have a lot of envy of Mike's wardrobe based on the amount of heat I got for certain things that I was wearing back in that day.
Is that right?
Yes.
I guess he's gotten, we created this graphic. I don't know if you see, there's Jim as Oscar and there's Mike as Felix,
I love it.
That's it.
Every time they're mic'd up, it's my first thing that I tune in on. It's my favorite.
And so you got what else? You got a Belichick quote on the wall? You got
we got Belichick, Spurrier, Shanahan, Harbaugh, McVay, Carroll, Billick.
Wow.
Those are the 7 on the wall.
Dude. Yeah. And are they all wound into your DNA as how you do your job every day in Washington, Jedd?
They are. They're all in their own way wound into my DNA. Like I try to make sure that I stay true to myself and stay true to, how I grew up and what I believe in. But on the same token, they're such an influence in everything that we've done and the successes that we're trying to have. And, the last few years we've, managed to win a good bunch of games the last 3 years. So we're trying to emulate some of their success, but we got a long road to go before we get there.
Maybe you should put this in your locker room. This is in our green room over the commode.
I love it.
Yeah, you can borrow it if you need.
I appreciate it. I think we could create something similar to that. Yeah.
See, that's my Belichick quote that I've got on the wall.
It's a great one. It's a classic.
Well,
it's a classic.
It's simple. It's not. Let's just put it this way. It's not too difficult to understand what that means. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I'm a fan of concise. We're very simple. We're just be a pro, right? Be a pro.
That's it.
So do your job. Be a pro. I think when you start making it. Our friend Coach Harbaugh used to say, we don't need slogan soup around here, right? So I kind of learned that. And I'm like, we don't need just a bunch of slogans everywhere. We don't just need to have a big old, just drop a bunch of slogans on the walls and all that stuff. So we're kind of simple. Be a pro, and we just kind of live by that standard here.
Jedd Fisch, University of Washington, head football coach here on the Rich Eisen Show. Our radio audience just returned, and we've been just chopping up about all the guys on whose staffs you've been on throughout your career. And just one last one I want to linger on is Sean McVay, who is, now for the, I believe, first time, is he finally 40 years old? I mean, it's kind of crazy in how long he's already done it. You were on his staff for a couple of seasons, if I'm not mistaken. What did you see there that makes him better than most?
Oh, man. Well, I was there year 2 and year 3. So we went to the Super Bowl in his second year and had an unbelievable season, 15-3. And then the next year, we missed the playoffs. We went 9-7 at that time. And then, but his ability to provide stability in the program, in the franchise, his ability to connect with players. We obviously all know about his intelligence and his ability to see offensive football, but, I just still can, I always go back to, and he says it's a quote from his dad. Because I've always talked about it from him, is that you compete with schematics, but you win with people. And I think that Sean is so good at connecting with people that it's kind of been our secret sauce here over the last 5 or 6 years of what type of relationships can we build in and out of the building to be able to have the type of success that Sean has.
Well, listen, it helps that some of the people are Myles Garrett, right? But the bottom line is that when Garrett shows up here, and Aaron Donald suddenly has his pilot light lit again, he wouldn't be attempting it if the coach that's still there is somebody he couldn't stand, right? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there's no doubt. I mean, when I was there, I remember bringing Ndamukong Suh in to Nobu and Malibu and sit down with him and Sean explaining to him why he should sign a contract to be with us. Then we brought in Dante Fowler, who was the 5th overall pick for the Jags. Then we brought in Clay Matthews. Then we had Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib. So when you're able to attract so much talent, they're obviously attracted for a particular reason. And the reason is his ability to connect with them. So sure, Myles Garrett and Jalen Ramsey going through the program as well, a few years back. And I mean, there's just such talent that constantly goes through the program. And his willingness and his ability to connect with the greatest players that's ever done it, the Aaron Donalds of the world, the Myles Garrett, the Matthew Staffords, the Cooper Kupps, but also his ability to make everybody in the building, in the program, in the organization feel good is a trait that I hope to one day be able to achieve as well.
And just real quick before we move on you and your program in college football, what's your favorite Aaron Donald story of what you saw him do close up?
So
No?
I'll tell you, my favorite Aaron Donald story doesn't. It has to do with the fact we had a practice squad right guard, and I was running the look team. And for like 3 plays in a row, Aaron was in the backfield before you could even like look back up.
Hmm.
And I just obviously I was messing around, but I just ripped this guy. And I'm like, can you block this guy, please? I mean, what are we doing? Number 99 is in the backfield. And Aaron just looks at me and just smiles. He goes, he ain't blocking me. And I go, I know, but we got to pretend we're trying to block you. Otherwise, we can't even get a playoff. And he's such a good dude. Aaron is. And when I got the head job, he was one of the first to text. And I just always appreciate what type of person he is.
That's awesome. Jedd Fisch here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, so where are you right now for the season here?
Yeah, so we just finished our 5th practice, our 3rd straight with pads on. Tomorrow we'll get back at it again with full pads, and then we'll take a softer day, and then we'll have our first scrimmage. And we're in a good spot right now, knock on wood. We have a very healthy team, a team that's really loving being around one another. Our quarterback's in a great place. That's really what I like the best is where he's at mentally, where he's at physically, and then we have a lot of returning starters. We have 16 returning starters. We have one of the youngest teams in all of college football. But with that being said, I really love the way our guys are playing, the energy they're playing with, and the passion they're playing with.
Well, I mean, the place that your quarterback is physically as a returning starter, Jedd, is in and of itself kind of news, or at least it was back in January, in terms of Damon Wilson and what he was doing to try and depart, then come back, and then lawsuits were being talked about from Washington's point of view. Clearly, pages are turned between then and now. But Damon Williams. But the issue here, is there an issue anymore, Jedd?
No, it's just I kind of said in the Big Ten media days, like, I mean, this to me is like a 1-day or 2-day holdout in the NFL, and like, who cares? Keep it moving. He's in such a good place with the team, with the staff. It was what I think like January 14th to January 16th or whatever it was.
Right.
The way he's handled himself with the media, the way he's handled himself with our donors, the way he's handled himself with our players, with our coaching staff. I mean, he's in such a good spot. I just love watching right now the way he's playing. I think he's a different guy because now he's going into year 3 in our program. He's now going into year 2 as a starter. That's just different. He's got 16 starts under his belt. And man, I just think we got a special kid that's going to do some really cool things if we do a great job of protecting him. And I got to do a great job of calling plays and putting him in position to be.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, obviously, because the last thing you want is that. And but I have to ask, certainly in this day and age, Jedd, where NIL and transfer portal is so front and center, and Congress may get involved, and the SEC commissioner is saying this is not a ploy if we're thinking about taking our ball and going somewhere else, and the Big Ten commissioner and Tony Petitti's talking about 24 playoff teams, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the dollars are right there front and center. But you're really at the cross section based even on that 48-hour period about contracts and what's enforceable and what's not. So you'd be a perfect guy to ask the question, what rules do you think need to be put in place here to move forward collectively?
Well, I think, the number one thing we have to do, and I've been saying this for years, is we have to start with making coaches' contracts enforceable. When we don't have coaches' contracts enforceable, we send such a bad message. Now, what we use is buyouts, right? We use buyouts, but we don't have, in the NFL, they make it very clear. You need permission to leave. And then the next part of it is we have rules that in the NFL, you have contracts that you don't have an option to leave until you get to that option year. And then the team decides whether or not they're going to move on from you earlier than your contract because you're getting paid, you're an employee. Now, I know we don't use the word employee. I know we don't use the word pay for play, but what these kids are doing is they're getting compensated for what they're doing. And we've got to make sure that we are able to have some rules that we all abide by. Now, for some reason, the college athletic world has always been, well, how do we find a loophole rather than how do we abide? I think it would be nice if we could just say the university pays X. If there's some reason outside of the cap that some player needs to receive some other marketing deal, it has to be approved by some version of a commissioner league office or whatnot. But outside of that, just find a number. We personally in Washington, we need someone to tell us what the number is because we don't spend enough. So if we're going to spend, if we get to a high number, then hopefully that would mean that we can get to that number as well. Because soon they're going to get to a point where if you're only using third-party dollars and a small pool or a smaller cap, there's going to be too many different levels and separation. So we need to be at that spot where they let us, like Congress said, hey, you can, X amount of $20-something million for retention, X amount of $1 million for revenue share, X amount of $1 million for women's sports and Olympic sports. And then let's figure out how we can have some version of a competitive environment where there's some parity in what we pay.
And again, I don't want to get politics involved here, Coach. None of us really want to stray in those lanes, but reaching and hoping Congress does something. I mean, the Senate just took a month-long break with this bill sitting there to be voted on and then sent over to the House, and then that's a whole different ball of wax. So it's like waiting for Congress to do something might not be the answer, especially, again, when there's scheduling is part of all of this, too. And by the way, kudos to your school for making the Apple Cup a week 1 game for the first time ever. I mean, to put those emotions on the line right out of the gate is gumption. That's for sure, to say the least.
Yeah.
But then you got the Big Ten schedule right ahead. I mean, all of this together, I just find it interesting that you're like, okay, it's got to start with your profession, right? That the buyouts that somebody can't just come along and say, your buyout's just $8 million. Somebody who's, in the oil and gas industry, say, or something in the alumni base can pay that and off you go. So you're saying it all starts there.
I think so, because I think that regulates a lot of movement. And it also sends the right message, right? That contracts do matter, because I have a really hard time, getting on to kids about not being able to do something when we're able to do it, right? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So if somebody wants to leave, for example, we were talking about Sean earlier. One of the other 31 teams can't just decide to go hire Sean, right? I mean, it doesn't work that way. So why do we allow one of the other 63 teams or whatever, 30 teams that can afford, some of us to go just get hired? Like, why not have some version of we're telling these kids we're as stable as they are? And then we could go to the next line of regulation. But if it's not Congress, then who is it? Then it's probably going to have to be a breakaway. It's probably going to have to be a couple leagues getting together. It's going to have to be 36 teams getting together, whatever it might be, and figuring out how to have a great football, league, and have it obviously partially privatized and partially public, and go from there. But right now, this is not working. It's working because we're all having great teams and great games. But if we're going to other people every day or going to other courts to ask for a ruling, it's very hard to have a stable environment where you can at least know what to plan for next year.
Yeah, certainly if coaches go somewhere else and then try to poach someone else's quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't want to linger on that too long, but let's talk about some of the guys that are in the next level. Cleveland fans are nuts about Denzel Boston right now. What do you and also Jonah Coleman in Denver? What can you tell me about again these kids and maybe your role in making sure they're set up for the future?
Yeah, I'm so excited from the things that I've heard and read, and what we've done is we found a way to try to demonstrate to our players, like, hey, look at this article, about Denzel finding his way with the first team, or Coach Monken talking about Denzel in a press conference and how prepared he's been, or Coach Payton saying that Jonah Coleman doesn't come across as a rookie. That all to me demonstrates that those guys embrace the be a pro standard here and the be a pro model. And it doesn't matter where they got drafted, second round, fourth round. What mattered was they came in there prepared to be a pro, and then they're being rewarded for that. I think the same is going with Carver Willis in San Francisco, from what I understand. He's having a great camp. Tacario Davis in Cincinnati, great camp. And I'm just so excited about the fact that those guys and, Zach Durfee, I talked to Liam the other day down in Jacksonville, how he's doing. So it's pretty cool to have relationships with all these coaches that have taken on our former players. Obviously, so proud of T-Mac being the offensive player of the year. We had him, recruited him, coached him in Arizona from last season. So I take great pride, and I love all of our former players' successes. And it's been super cool to watch it. Certainly with Denzel and Jonah have gotten a lot of the headlines recently over the last 2 days.
Yeah, no doubt about that. For real. I mean, for Sean Payton to say somebody has shown up like a pro doesn't look like a rookie, that's a manhole cover being thrown around. You know what I mean? Right there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I told him that, too. I told Jonah, I said, for Coach Payton to say that, keep doing what you're doing, and then just keep doing it better.
Yeah, that's right. And I assume Liam Coen is a Rams connection, right?
Liam and I, that hallway, Zach Taylor, Shane Waldron, Liam Coen, Chris Shula, that was Zach Robinson. Those were like the 7 offices in a row. It was a pretty sweet hallway to be in. And Wade Phillips being across the hall, Joe Barry. It was just a pretty special hallway that Coach McVay was able to put together, and I was fortunate to be there.
Yeah. Liam, did you hear what he had to say about nobody's talking about the Jaguars? I don't know if that filtered through your world. You saw that? I mean,
I loved it.
Yeah, I've seen 40 pictures of Caleb Williams on the NFL site. Nobody's talking about us. He's something else, this guy, man.
He's great. He is. Liam is awesome. He was. We were together for 2 years. Yeah. And he's awesome.
Well, good luck. I mean, again, I'm not just saying it. Washington State, Apple Cup, week 1. That's some serious business. Certainly, since you know they're going to want an extra piece based on what happened with the Pac-12, right?
No doubt.
They're going to want a piece for sure.
The way the game went last year, like, we got to be ready. We got to be ready, and we got to play our best. And who wants to? You got to start on a high note. And to play the rival in week 1 and then play your rival in week 12. You got the rivalry sandwich going. So we got to make sure we do a great job there in week 1, and our team knows it.
Yeah, and the defending champs coming in your final home game of the season as well. There with the Indiana and Signetti coming in before you visit Oregon at the end. So this ain't easy.
It ain't easy.
But and hopefully maybe I'll run into you when you're down here in Los Angeles on that first weekend in October, Jedd.
That'd be awesome.
It's always
Love
great
to see you, Rich.
It's always great connecting with you. Always great.
Thanks, man.
You got
I appreciate you.
You bet. Right back out there. Right there up in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Jedd Fisch, the Washington Huskies head coach right here on.
Try to knock me off my feet, still standing with more money than I came with. Goddamn, took a loss, but I'm still a gambling man, betting all the chips that I got left.